And we are live. Welcome to The Contradiction with myself, Byron McDonald, and Lethea McCann. As I say each week, Facebook is a private owned interface, so if you do get logged off, just hop back onto the page and you'll find a new link there. We're also multi streaming on various platforms, so comment and
engage.
Hey, listen up. If you're lucky enough to fall in love with someone, try not to ruin it by Googling them. Okay.
The Contradiction with Lethea McCann and Byron McDonald.
Just to make sure you don't forget what we look like.
So as I say each week, The Contradiction is about bringing different viewpoints together and allowing you, the viewer, the opportunity to comment and engage and share your viewpoint on the topic. So our guest host for tonight's show is an amazing guest. That is Rev Morné E Meyer from Cape Town, South Africa. Rev M relocated to the USA in 2017 and he is currently completing his doctoral degree specializing in transformational leadership at Payne Theological Seminary. He also serves as the senior pastor of the Central Chapel AME Church in Ohio, and he is definitely proudly flying the SA flag all around the world. Rev M has a deep passion for people and people of color in South Africa, with his warm, loving, and caring nature and his humorous way of sharing and inspiring people, he has definitely touched many lives on social media. So without any further ado, let us go ahead and bring on Mr. Rev M, as he usually is called, right? Mr. Rev M.
Rev M, good evening, Lethea and Byron, good evening to you. Thank you for having me on this amazing platform. Thank you that we can come together and celebrate one of the most important days of our lives.
Definitely.
It is Mother's Day.
Yes.
So to all mothers out there, I want to say happy Mother's Day on this very, very special day. We say it is a day of royalty fit for a queen, because they are indeed the queens of our lives. So, Lethea and Byron, thank you so much for inviting me and having me. Great to be with you.
Brilliant. How have you been, man? What have you been up to? Give us a little bit of taste. You in the States. How's the States been treating you?
The States has been treating me very, very well. This morning started off, I must share with you, very emotional this morning as I reflect, on my late mother, because we had such a great relationship. And then I had to prep for our Mother's Day celebration and our Mother's Day service that is taking place after this. And it is Robin Peter's show live at the castle in Cape Town. And I have been so involved and busy with all of this. So all of this emotions just came together this morning. And I was very teary. Ek was so stoutkind gewees vandag. But other than that, I am blessed. I am fine and I'm feeling amazing. So it is so good to be with you guys. I can't. Oh, there we go. The sound was missing.
So it is the Mother's Day special. So happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers out there. And the topic on the screen is how important is a mother's love, which is brilliant for Sunday's show. It is Mother's Day. And I know this is definitely something close to your heart. As you said, you were close to your late mother. So let us go into the topic. Mr. M.
Is this going to be more? Is this going to be less of a contradiction and more of a motivational Mommy's Day tribute show? I don't know.
So. I was, you know what, Byron, you're saying something. I was thinking, this is contradiction. I wonder how this is going to play out and how contradictory will we be and how can we get in this segment. And remember, if you still have Mother's Day watching, so be careful. No, you know what? I personally think, you said that I was close to my mother. That is 100% correct. Because I'm a very, very close relationship with my late mother, Dorothy Meyer. I always use the phrase, I am because of you. So when I honor her and when I celebrate her, I use that phrase because I believe what she poured into my life and that mother's love that comes with nurturing and that comes with embracing, that mother's love that comes with compassion and guiding, and that fierce, strong, unconditional love that she shared and that she put into me, made me who I am today. I feed off her strength. I feed off her energy. I feed off her resilience. And I'm actually going to share a very emotional story with you guys tonight about my mom. I actually used it in a sermon one day just to illustrate to you the impact a mother's love has on a child, on a human being, sons, daughters, doesn't matter, the impact a mother's love have in the future of any child or any person for that matter. So I believe it is very important. So I'm not sure if I can just go in and share the story, because out of that I want to illustrate the importance of what you've asked the question: how important is a mother's love?
Of course, go for it.
So it was a Good Friday in 2015. My mom fell ill a few days, say 10 days prior to that, and she fell into a coma. And I was not present, and I thought, it wasn't real. I thought that, it's just something, an illness or whatever. And she fell into a coma in 2015. And then she never came out of that coma until one day, and I will never forget this. I was working in Malmesbury at that time at West Coast College, and I got this call to come to the hospital. I said, yes, but it's visitation time, and I will go to the hospital anyway. So me being very excited, we had to go visit my mom in hospital. You remember, she was in a coma, but I went every day because of the link and relationship. Long story short, I remember running up the staircase at the hospital. And on top of the staircase, I was met by the nurse who I've came to, learn to know, and we shared so much during my time being there, and me being very talkative and engaging with them. And when I reached the top of the staircase, she was there, and she says, oh, wow, your mother's doing great. It seems that she wants to come out of the coma. And my immediate response was with excitement. I uttered these words. I said, wow, that's amazing. I almost gave up. And now you need to know that was in the corridors of the hospital. So what happened is, then my siblings was in the room already. I still had to enter the room. And when I entered the room, I greeted my siblings, and my mom wakes up out of her coma. And the first words my mom say to me is, never give up.
Wow.
Then she goes, and we're excited, and I heard it, but I missed it. I was so excited about her waking up. I asked her to say all of our siblings' names, and she repeated all the names, and she recognized everybody in the room. And I stood very close to her bedside, and she was a very fierce and a stern woman, and she always pushed me to do better, to never give up, that you can. Her favorite words was, you can do it, you can do it. And she looked at me, and I'll never forget this, Byron and Lethea, never for the rest of my life. And she turned her head to me, and she looked at me with that fierce look, like, how dare you? And she says twice, she repeats it, she says, never give up. You never give up, with that sternness in her voice. And she went back in a coma, and I've never heard my mother's voice again.
Wow.
The last word she said was, you never give up. The importance and the impact of those words, because that words came with drive, with motivation, but it came with love for her children, love for her son. And that word impacted me, or is impacting me on my life's journey. So I'm saying this, that a mother's love in her words, love in her touch, because you need to understand, a mother don't even have to say, I love you. But her touch reflects love. Her preparing a meal reflects love. Her cleaning reflects love. Her engaging, and yeah, the preacher is coming out in me. Her engaging with her children just reflects love, because a mother's love comes with nurturing, as I said, embracing and compassion, and just with guiding and fears. And you know what? What is so important to me is that we recognize that a mother's love is unconditional. The Afrikaans says it's onvoorwaardelijk. She loves you irrespective. If you fail, she loves you. If you win, she loves you. If you made a mistake, she reprimands, but she loves you, because love is even reflected. Oh my. Love is even reflected in her reprimanding you. And we can misinterpret that, but there's love. My mom's used the word tough love sometimes, and I'm going to drop that to the two of you right there, because it can aangaan and aangaan. This is my topic.
Well,
Byron, what's your
so
take?
we are on the contradiction, and I'm not trying to be funny. Mother's love is a important love. So here's my question to the two of you.
Okay.
You being of the future generation, and when I speak about my mother, I speak about the older generation. So now the question from my side is, I'm not laughing at the comment that just came in. Carol, his mother's name is Carol. So let me just, before I go in, that just threw me off guard. Carol het vir my gemoer. Liefde in my geslat.
En hy kom met baie liefde, hy slat.
Kom met baie liefde, ja. But anyway, it threw me off guard. But the point I'm trying to make is, a mother's love is unconditional. My mother has proved it to me. But I don't want to wipe with the bucket away. Now, looking at the mother's love is so much that they're even raising their grandkids. So, we're talking about new generation's motherly love. Because ek sien vroumense gooi hulle kinders goue mami toe, goue papi toe, goue ergens anders toe. Has the mother's love declined in the new generation because of temptation, because of worldly things, and because of knowing that they can achieve more? That is my question.
No. I we are here, we can differ on that. I do not think that the notion of mother's love has changed. And I don't think it's less of love, but I do think something else seeps in. We have become so complacent, so comfortable, knowing that grandmother is there, knowing that they say, I don't love you less, ma oma gaan beter kan kyk. Oma is daar. It is that comfortability that grandmothers has given their daughters to become the drop-off center.
Oh, exactly.
So that is an external factor that comes in, because remember, love is an internal, it's an emotional, it's born in the heart. So I do not think the love has been taken away by that external contribution and that external factors of having the comfortability of grandmothers have consumed some of the young mothers' minds. That's my take on it.
Yes. I have another question, though. I mean, with regards to how important is mother's love, Rev M has mentioned that it is vital, it is really important towards a child's well-being and nurturing and just emotional stability and emotional intimacy as an adult. However, I have heard and come across many mothers that are quite toxic to their children. So can that love become toxic to the child's well-being, where the mother uses the emotional strings of the child in order to get what they want? So is that love or is that selfishness? So when do you discern between the mother's love and the mother's selfishness? Because there's a lot of mothers out there that can do that, though, that I've heard do that, where children had to actually distance themselves from their mother because their mothers were toxic within their lives and their growth.
Yeah, Daryl's talking about it. Daryl says sometimes it's too much. Ek dink hy praat nou nog oor die pak. Hy het te veel pak gekry oor jare.
I think Daryl had a psychological scar met hy pak wat hy gekry het. And I'm so sorry. I want to say to you, I like this. I like this because I am not oblivious,
Mm.
and I am not. I look at things from all angles, and I agree with you that happens. I, I personally never take away that they love. That's one area. So
Yes.
I'm clear that I never take away that there's a love. There's a natural born love that is there, but it does become toxic. I can even, and we learn from experiences. There was Me and my mom was very close, and I love her so much because of what she poured into me. But I also saw those little bit of toxicness at some stage in her life where she, I remember, and I don't want to do this because I just bought roses for another mother that I want to bless. I was thinking, now that I'm thinking on your question, who did I tell one day? I came home and I was out of her house one day. I mean, I was out of the house. I lived on my own. I was a professional. I was, made my own money, blah, blah, blah. But she had this thing because I love her in return so much. She saw the gap of trying to control me with that love, using that love to control.
Exactly.
Because what she did is she wanted to control my time. She wanted to control what I do, what I contribute. And because she knew at some time how much I love her, that I would do anything. And and I always said, Mommy, don't try to emotionally abuse me. It's like many me slani.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you a story about what my mom did with a pakre. Daryl, I'm gonna help you here as well. I got so upset. I brought her roses, but we went into this altercation or argument that became so toxic and so fierce that ek die bos rose met sy koppe stikkend op die tafel geslaan het. Now, I'm the love child, the pastor, her crown prince, her
What
little,
apple key?
But I got so upset because I recognized the toxicness in that relationship. And
Exactly.
I had to step back and say, Mommy, hold on. I had to start creating barriers and say, this is where you are overstepping with your love. I know you love me, but this is a boundary.
Exactly.
And you know what? And in our community, colored communities, remember the giving thing? Because I went back at one of your shows and you spoke about should kids still give to their mothers and contribute. And remember you had a show back then?
Yes, that's right.
I do my homework, research. I do my homework. So you went in that show, and that to me is important because our culture has become so accustomed to Oschino for Samans. I don't have a problem with that. I gave till dying day. But even in that, there's a toxicness. Even in that, there should be boundaries. I remember when my father died, my mom dealt differently with the death of my father, and because she was a spender prior to his death, and her acting out of her emotions became a like addicted, like somebody that's addicted to drugs. Spending became her drug so much that she didn't have much left. And she, in return, wanted me to fill that gap because she felt I was financially stable, apple key, whatever. And my mom started to become and because of me loving her, and because of us being so close, I fed into that all the time. And one day my sister said, you cannot take up where dad left off. Because it was bad when dad was alive. And you are feeding into that same thing. And my mom used that very same thing, as you say, to kind of, I'm not sure, mentally, emotionally, what kind of, take that out of me because she knew how much I loved in return. And we have to set boundaries for our parents. Now, this might sound terrible to mothers. How does my cat van JC kunt en eczema? That's ramping.
Yes.
JC kunt en eczema, exe JC nie. Me and my mom talked a lot about that. I said, I am not telling you because I'm disrespectful. I'm sharing with you how I feel, how your approach to me make me feel, because I'm human too. Yes, I'm your child, but I'm in this relationship too. Because parents think they're the only person in the relationship. There is their child, and then there's them, and they're the only person in that relationship. And boundaries needs to be set. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, Baron.
Yeah, I just want to go to two comments. So we were talking about grandmothers here. Tanya, actually, I grew up with my grandmother, but the guidance, support, and love that that she showed us was a mother's love. Ja, ga je oma toe. Sy basically they told her, ja, ga je oma toe. So it's not like a mother's passed away. She's saying that it was. Now I want to take this one, and I think Daryl commented on it. So Sharon said, it was very deep. My mother used to say these words to me, and I quote, I don't like this child. I grew up with that. My mother never loved me. And Daryl was nice to say. At Sharon, sorry to hear. The thing you need to do now is be the exact opposite to your children. So how do you guys take that comment on though?
That's oh, sorry, Lathia, let me give you sorry.
Go ahead, because I actually have a question after that.
That to me is a very, because you find that, we cannot erase it. That really happens. There are that, and I believe it's deeper. I believe you remember, let me share with you. We must always remember that hurt people hurts people. Let me say that again. Hurt people hurts people. Many often something went wrong psychologically in that mother's life that she has never healed from. And I like the comment when she said, now you have to do the opposite. And that mother never learned to do the opposite. So she carries a hurt with her that comes from her experience. And that hurt, now she hurts her next. And the sad part is her next will hurt the next, because they've never cut off. They've never dealt with that hurt, with that pain, that psychological trauma that they might have experienced or gone through. And that is a big, big challenge there.
I just want to tackle Tanya's comment where she said she was raised by her grandmother. So I believe that parental bonding or parental-like bonding is very important. I wouldn't necessarily specify that a mother's love is important, because that takes away the fact that a father can also provide that to the mother. So I would say parental bonding, a strong nurturing or emotional connection from infancy is what is vital to any flourishing human being. Not necessarily the mother, but someone that can also give that type of love and support and guidance and nurturing towards a child in order to groom them for the world out there. So the question that I actually have is, in a situation where there might be a divorce between two parents, what is your opinion as to who the primary caregiver should be for that child?
That's a deep one though.
It's a very difficult and complex thing. Because, and I knew you were going to ask me that in any case, because we talk about fathers that plays the role as a mother. So we do deal with that in many instances, and there's a lot of that. And big ups to the fathers who take on the mother role. Now I'm going to throw something back at you. But let me say this, that connection at birth is very important. That connection of mother and child is important, because there's just that psychological thing, that natural thing that happens between the bond and a mother. And if a kid, and if the mother doesn't show that love and that nurturing, that will impact that kid for the rest of their life. So that is very, very important. Now, I personally, I'm a mother, and I had a father. Make no mistake about it. I had my father; he was there, but my mom was my primary caregiver. My mom was my everything, and that bond was there. However, this is so. My mom used to say something, and that's what I want to throw back at y'all. And maybe I am conflicted with it in general, because I don't know it all. But my mom used to say to me, the difference between your father and your mother. Your father can love you as a parent, how much, and be all of that. can be all of what a mother can be, and I believe they can. But my mom said these words. She says, you need to always remember that the father saw you coming, but the mother felt you coming.
Oof.
Let me say that again. She always said, the father saw you coming, but the mother felt you coming. So
She,
there's
of
a
course, she
key
felt him.
on there. And then she went on to explain it. She says, like a car crash. If you stand outside and you saw it and you go, ouch, you saw the crash. And you couldn't feel the pain, but you saw it. It was there. It is detached from you. But the person in the car felt the crash. That's deeper.
So, Rev Morné, so you're basically saying that a mother's love is deeper than a father's love. Is that what you're saying?
Now, I told you I don't know it all, but I'm completely, I do believe there is a different emotional connection. Because remember, mothers are driven by a more stronger emotion. Where especially in our culture, the alpha male role, provider, protector. Moenie liefde by my soekie. Ek kyk na jou, dis my liefde. Jou ma praat mooi. Jou ma vryf jou kop. Jou ma stryk jou ma toe gaan dit doen. You get what I'm trying to say? There's that difference between the two. I'm not saying there's no depth in a father's love, because there is. My father loved me. He showed it differently. I can't remember one time until the death of my father that my father said, I love you.
Wow.
I can't remember one, but I do remember an incident. I remember him sitting outside, and my father was an alpha male. I'm going to leave that there. My father was an alpha male. He sat outside with his boys. I came around the corner. I parked my car. He didn't hear me park, so I parked in the driveway. There's this little passage that you walk through. And he asked somebody the time, knowing that is the time that I will come home. And he says to one of the guys, my seun gaan nou huis toe, gaan nou binnekort huis toe kom. Oor so daai laat. You know that hulle praat, jy weet die geboumanne. My kind, my seun gaan nou huis toe kom. And I didn't even hear my seun gaan huis toe kom nie. I heard the son I love is coming home.
Oh, wow.
Because when he said it, I felt the love that I've never heard from my father saying to the boys, vloekie gebou, die bakstene gooi, die dagga, a mix. But he said that with the joy, the compassion, the love, and I heard it in his voice. So I knew that there was that love. You know how my father said to me one day of my studies, my powers are guardian. Like kick for me. Firstly, he said to somebody that was with me, asking him about taking a banana from the fruit bowl and eating. And then the person asked, so how do you make your money? You know you make your money, blah, blah, blah. My father hit back and said, as ek nie geld gemaak het, jy Jenny nou hy pisang geëet. So but then he went on and he said to me, and this is where I heard, I love you. He said to me, Jay, Jay moet weer nog gaan study. Gaan leer. Terwyl ek nog hier is en ek geld het om vir jou te laat leer. Jy moenie stop nie, gaan leer. Now, it was rough. It was just gaan leer. I didn't hear gaan leer. I said, I love you so much. And while I'm here, I want to give you the best I can give. And I want to pay for it. So he shows love differently.
Exactly.
But I do believe they love.
Wow.
Of course,
But
yes.
mother loves with so much emotion and passion.
Yeah.
En self as skill, it's an ander tipe liefde.
And I think that a mother is more expressive when it comes to the love that she gives. Where a
not
father
always.
is also, that's also the thing. Because in some cases, in some households, the mother is the disciplinarian and the father is more of the nurturer. And then in some cases, it's the mother that's more of the nurturer and the father that's the disciplinarian. So it's not necessarily always the same. But I just want to go to Bernadette's comment,
And another one that can
where
latch onto
she
it.
says we don't get manuals on how to be mothers. So in my view, young mothers are not prepared adequately for motherhood. This is where the toxicity comes in. Many times mothers are not even aware of how toxic they are. They don't even know that they don't know. That is 100%.
I want to these two
I love
questions,
that.
and then Daryl asked the question also. So I want to latch these two together, and then I will rephrase it. Maybe if you guys can go into it. So it says, "Mom is more for the boy than the girl." So just to get it right, Tanya said, "I don't agree with Byron. Byron is quite good, mommy, daddy. What?
Oh, Byron is a good mommy daddy. So Byron takes the role of a mommy and a daddy.
No, it's not. It's not that always. But that question, Bernadette's question, and Daryl's one is it? Does the mom love the boy more than the girl? So I'm gonna rephrase and where was the one that Bernadette?
Bernadette goes up. There we go.
So Bernadette said, "We don't get manuals on how to be mothers. So, in my view, young mothers are not prepared adequately for motherhood. I believe that also. This is where the toxicity comes in. Many times, mothers are not even aware of how toxic they are. They don't even know that they are. They are. Look, I kind of agree with that, right? But I also disagree with it. Must I tell you why I disagree with it? Because
Yeah.
mothers in the past had an excuse to be toxic. But there's so much love that comes from their side. Yes, there is toxic mothers in the past, like Sharon has explained, and I believe you're an elderly woman. But also they had excuse. They were forced to stay at home, work for a man, feed that man, look after that man. There was a lot of pressure on them. You were the only minions that they could bully. They could bully no one else. So they had power. But yes, they poured love into you rather. Even if they gave you a hiding or whatever it is. Now, without elongating it, Daryl's question also, do the mother love the boy more than the girl? And that's also the thing. Oh, as pa se kind, as pa se dogter, as ma se seun. Stereotypes are there for a reason. So this is a valid question. You or the viewer, give that answer also as a mother. How would you feel honestly? So my thing is, I agree. Sometimes mothers swing a little bit more softness towards their boys, right? And fathers swings a little bit more softness towards their daughters, right? Because they don't know that gender. They haven't grown up as a girl or they haven't grown up as a boy. The opposite sex, they pour a little bit more love into it, if you want to say as such. But here comes the thing in. Why must there be favoritism between parents if the mother's love and the father's love is that great? Because there is favoritism in kids between parents. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Het jy nie opgelet hulle? Sy kan twee sakke koop en sy's lief gewees vir altyd sakke, maar sy's 'n klein bietjie meer lief vir die ander ene as die ander ene. Why? That's my question, also.
I don't think that it's necessarily favoritism, and this is something that both my mother and my father said, that they treat their kids according to their personality. They cannot treat all their kids the same. There's a different connection between each child because of the different personality that each child has. So it's the same as any other relationship that you have. When there's a different type of understanding between the parent and the child, of course the parent might have a stronger relationship because there's a better understanding. It doesn't necessarily mean that the parent loves the child more or that there's favoritism. There's just a higher level of understanding in that relationship. So that's my opinion.
I love that. I like that. I like the personality thing, and in the real world that would be amazing. In the real life, that would be an awesome take on. But the reality is that I saw it in my life. My sister was my dad's child, and I was my mom's child. I just like we are more sons, but I mean, just take the two of us. Remember, this is not why this is just not mine. This is no studied. I'm just thinking about it. If I look at it, remember, men becomes protectors, and men become providers. That's the natural instinct of men, and how we were raised to be as men in our society. So yeah, you have this baby girl. What's going to happen? The dad automatically becomes that protector of his little baby girl, because baby girls is seen as, they can't fend for themselves. In that how we were raised, they are. Oh, I must be very cautious with my words. But okay, and we've got strong woman on here. But remember, I'm not taking this, please, people. In our culture, we were raised in a patriarchal system. We have been raised that woman is, like they would say, the weaker sex. You know, in they can't defend themselves in beating up another man and fighting like that. There's a softer nature. So the father automatically takes on that role. And then somebody just said, and then the father wants the son to man up, to be the protector, to be the person that covers, to be the person. So they're harder on there to make them this protector. And what does the mother then do? The mother then becomes the soft, passionate encourager to the son, who the dad is trying to make into this hard protector. So that is how the roles become, and that is how they latch onto to a kind of thing. And then the mother says, "This is how your wife should treat you. This is how your wife should." You know, that happens in our community. And then some woman tells the sons, "Luister, jy met my getroud of met jou ma." Remember that happens.
And then there's competition and who shows who more affection.
You know so it happens. Because mother wants to nurture that kind of thing. Be good to your wife. Treat me like you would treat your wife. That is how and toxicity comes into that because ma is in control over our seeing. We know all of that. And that is a conversation for a later time, because that happens. You know, these squin mas and those kind of things, and sons in there. So that happens. And many times, the last thing I want to say on this, and I have seen this many times, the daughter and the mother, they have fights. They argue a lot, because what happens is the daughter takes on certain trends of the mother. And when these two same things, if the mother's a hard-headed person and the daughter has taken on that trend and she's hard-headed, these two hard-heads are going to hit heads. And that happens very often. And I can promise you, as much as daughters say, "I do not want to be like my mother," I'm telling you, they become just like their mothers. It shows up differently, but it is there. It is there. I said at my mama's funeral, I will never forget, I addressed each child. I addressed each child at the end of the funeral, and I said to my sister, "And you became everything she was." Not more. And I know my sister hated that. But obviously, I made it, I was light and jovial. I said, "And you became everything that you always told me you never want to become," because that happens. They take on the form of the mother, and that's why they butt heads a lot of times. That's my take on it.
Wow, that was hectic though. That was hectic though on that side also. Maybe it's just women, man. Women disagree a lot. They gaan net skiet my now.
If we can just engage.
So Sharon was maybe just take 2 comments from Sharon quickly.
So if you can just go up, because I don't think there's a few comments.
I love Sharon. Sharon is one of my family members on my page.
Okay, so Sharon says, "I found parental love in an old couple, Rita and Reynald. Rita,
Lambert.
aka Nana, was like a mother to me. I could share everything with her like a mom and daughter. May their soul rest in peace."
I just want maybe 2 more comments from her. I'll even go down.
Sharon says, "My mom passed away a day after we had a telephone conversation where she invited me for lunch the Sunday. She was excited and promised to make me lots of roast potatoes and sauce boinkies. Oh well, she passed on that same Sunday. We were supposed to enjoy lunch together. I made my peace, and I believe we left in peace with each other."
And now just on that, we know the story behind Sharon. And remember when I said about how hardcore the men was in the past with women? She even said, "I agree. My dad used to bully my mom or abuse her. So she had to see that there is food even though he never worked and gave food. Ma, hy het haar 8 kinders gegee on top of that." You see what I mean? Now it goes back to my point when I said the mothers in the past loved so hard through their struggle. They had reasons to be toxic. Like you said in the beginning, hurt people, right? But there is numerous of mothers. Some couldn't handle it. Some did. My mother went through a lot of crap also. But yes, I call her Iron Lady, and I could call many mothers in those years Iron Ladies, because I mean the devil they seen. It's not heavier than our cross, but I promise you, it burned like hell. The stuff they seen,
I wouldn't. Sorry, continue.
So yeah, if you get what I'm trying to say, before you're not getting the whole thing, The devil they seen is different. I'm not saying it's heavier than the crosses the women are carrying today. There's a little bit more pressure and a little bit more options. But why is toxicity becoming more and more when entitlement are given more and more? That's my question.
What makes you think that that women are more toxic in the modern age, though?
My darling, it's a wakey. The woman sings out, let's carry each other's crowns. Maar skinne hulle, die eerste ding op social media is, yeah, I don't like it. As skinne hulle of 'n man se buik, vat hom buik af. It's even a thing. I can take your man if I want to. All these songs, there's stereotypes for a reason. There's songs out there for a reason. There's people that live a certain way for a reason. Because it's becoming more and more the options and the way they see men is quite different in the past. Women don't see men as providers; they also see men as lust puppies nowadays. See if you can make me feel good, give me dopamine in my body. Women are not chasing longevity; they chase dopamine of today. Not saying everybody. I'm saying certain parts. You guys can disagree on it, but this is just my point. Dopamine, yeah, the rush.
We must be careful that, remember, because things are more publicized doesn't mean it didn't exist before.
Exactly.
Of course, I did
what
not
I
say
was
that.
getting to.
Um,
Exactly.
um, remember back in the day, they went through hell and fury and a lot of things. The difference is there was no Facebook to show it. There was no Twitter to have it. There was no place to see it. So
Agree.
now it is more, because if you listen to old love songs, the same people share their thoughts and their feelings through songs and through music. So if you look at the old music, it's the same thing. Hey, Louise, it is the same thing. So I'm very cautious when we make that statement. It is just because things are now more, like you said, options to showcase that. It
That's
is more
right.
prevalent for us to see, and now we can talk about it. But now you can imagine now there's an outlet, a Facebook or whatever. Probably not the best outlet, but there's an outlet. Now, can you just
Exactly.
imagine the mothers back then had no outlet?
Of
Exactly.
course. Oh, exactly. I agree with Rev M. Back then, women did not have as much opportunity. They could not work. Men were the providers. So in many cases, they had to stay in a toxic relationship in order for their
But
children,
this is
in
my
order
point.
to survive. Where women now, they have more opportunity. So if they feel that a relationship or anything is toxic for them, they can choose to accept it or move on from that, because they can also be providers for
But
themselves.
we are sitting then in a more depressed day and age than what we had in the past.
What makes you think that?
I feel in a sense of, okay, they have an outlet, right? Where to let out how they feel and stuff like that. Yes, women in the past says they weren't happy even if they've been married for 50 years. I'm just saying that the toxicity that's happening even on a global scale today is becoming so bright. In the past, people had to deal with it because they had no outlet, like you guys are saying. So why, when people have an outlet, it's even growing more and more? Is it because we are enabling people and saying it's okay to feel down, it's okay to feel bad, it's okay to do this? I don't know the answer.
So you're saying that we are feeding into the
Negativity.
the negativity.
That's exactly how I feel. This is what I feel. With all the positivity in the world, I feel people grab onto negativity more.
So you're saying that because of social media and because of all these outlets, it's actually making us more toxic within our own mental space.
I'm saying we are on a more wakey journey, as I would say, more enlightened. But we are actually not enlightened. We are just filled with more information. We have more information than our parents, but yet they were more spiritually gifted than us because they had time to silence their mind. Today's minds are so not silenced that they are not living for the spiritualness of their self. They're living for this devil world. I call it a devil world because if you read in the Bible, they said this is the devil's playground, basically, the way they say it. And the more we're feeding into this playground, the more we become depressed and into this world and sucked into this world. This is why people are scared of death, scared of other stuff, because they are sucked into this world. This is what I'm basically trying to explain.
But no. I cannot 100% disagree with you. They are, because there are so much more options. People do grab to and tend to be, but I don't want to say women are more toxic. I just don't want to say that. But I think in life in general, there are a level of more toxicity. There are more, we run to become more toxic because of all the options that are given. So you are right there. We cannot erase the fact, because remember, like we said, in the old days, they didn't have all these places. But you must also know, women has become more empowered themselves. They have more options to raise their voice, to lift their voice, to speak out, to say it is not okay, to say this is not right, to speak out. And women, have empowered themselves. I'm all about women empowerment. Have empowered themselves so much to become that they now take the opportunity to make their voice heard. Now, what needs to happen is they need to determine what is the good out of it and what is the bad, because the bad is they become toxic,
Right.
as in everything, because they say too much of a good thing is not always good. You know what I'm saying? So there is that option of becoming to over. It is like when to us now can be apathy rock. So we put ourselves in so much debt by buying cars and homes, and also look at the apathy, whatever us it drink water en vars air in ons huis, maar ons het 'n Mercedes-Benz wat buite staan. Too much of a good thing became a bad thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm making that analogy to show how toxic things can become
Exactly.
if you don't manage it. If you don't control it. And that is the problem. People lose control. And do you hear me say people? Because I'm trying to get it away. But I'm not going to let the feminist womanists attack me after this. So that is important to realize.
And I actually would like to agree partially with Biden as well.
No, go griefully, man. Leave this partially
Because
stuff.
if we look at mothers back in the day, they lived for their family. They lived for their children. They were at-home mothers, nurturing, investing in their children. Where in the modern day and age, we have plenty career women, professionals that unfortunately cannot be there for their kid on a full-time basis. So mothers are definitely the future. They mold, and they are supposed to be the primary caregivers for their children, in order to mold them and to instill certain value systems within them. But unfortunately, mothers are spending less and less time, and children are actually not getting as much time being reared by their parents, but actually being reared by their daily caregivers. But I just want to go to a comment.
We can go to 3 because you see, time goes quick. It's close to the end of the show.
So Bernadette says, this is true. Society has taught us to treat boys and girls in stereotypical ways. This creates boys who are unable to express their emotions and girls who feel weak, unworthy, and not enough. New moms or parents should stop the cycle for the sake of our children. Agree. And then Claudine says, toxicity.
No,
Sharon says, my ma altyd gesê, moenie wag op jou money. Growing up and seeing what's going on in your house, I think she would have that saying.
And then 2 more comments.
Claudine says, toxicity comes from childhood, as many of our parents and their parents, and this trauma is being passed on from generation to generation. So it's emotional trauma of the absence of support, our love and attention. And how do we heal this trauma? By becoming more aware and to let go of all the hurt and pain that's been implemented on our parents.
And
Daryl Arden says, to be fair, we cannot compare modern day moms to moms that grew up back in the day. We don't know what their lives were like back then. They faced things we don't know about. Lots of things come to mind, apartheid, etc. If you can
say. So then there's one from Shakira.
Shakira says, no FB, no Twitter, no Instagram. Laugh at like just the backyard, coffee and a smoke.
I like that, Shakira. If we could only go back to those days, Shakira.
So women connected more then.
Yes, that's what I just said. You see, I must disagree with Byron. What did I want to say? I'm joking. This is the last thing. How I feel my parting shot. See, we came to the end of the show, kind of. I think we did tell you at the end of the show, we just want you to motivate our viewers a little bit of something to take home. But I'm just going to say something if you want to say something afterwards. For me, I feel that woman has been, and I will say woman with powerful woman, I call it woman, has been indoctrinated thinking that being a mother is lesser than being an entrepreneur. Do you know how hard work is it to bring a human being into into this world? But I feel that woman has been sold this dream that becoming like a man is now your job also, but not telling you that your difference and your worth in this world is so much. Even in the Bible, Quran, wherever you read in what religious books, how much of a savior and how much we admire you and want to protect you because of the thing that you can create. Let's not call it the thing, the human you can create. No man can do that. That is what humans live for, life. You are here and you are able to give life. And yes, men are there partially, but you can do it even without them nowadays. So I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, stop falling into this trap. This is my opinion. Stop falling into the trap thinking that a career makes you a woman, a stronger woman. You at home, there's no job heavier than that. There's no job heavier than keeping something alive. Let's put it as such. That is the most important job in the world. Doctors get paid a lot of money. Policemen gets paid a lot of money. Imagine you bring life into this world instead of
Mama.
just saving that life. This is my opinion that women should walk around with that mindset. I am a stay-at-home mom. Does not make me lesser than you. That makes it materialistic stuff. I give life, something you might fight for. Here's a little thing. I'm a stage 4 cancer patient. I'm fight. I'm fighting for my life at this moment. All that work I had, all that money I raised and made and stuff disappears just like that. Life, you will fight for it when you don't protect it enough. And that's what a mother's importance is to me.
Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. That is
Mr.
absolutely.
We have come to the end of the show, and what we usually do at the end of the show is give you the opportunity to share some value about the topic or just general life lessons that you'd like to share with the viewers. So we're going to give you a full screen time to share with the viewers your value and your party shot.
Firstly, I'm going to say, Byron and Athea, thank you so much for affording me this amazing opportunity and this platform. And thank you that I can come and share with you. You are a blessed and amazing couple. Byron, you just mentioned something that struck me one more time, that you are, the stage 4 cancer. And I've read that about you, but I thank God for the life that is in you and that is in your life. So I firstly just want to say that, and the prayer of my heart is that the balm of Gilead, that God will touch you from the crown of your head to the foot soles of your feet, and that he will, because he's still the restorer and God is still the healer, and that he will touch you as you go through this process that you are dealing with. Thank you for being such a blessing to so many people. To mothers out there, I want to say, firstly, happy Mother's Day. And as Byron said, you are so special that you have the most important work in this world. You have become the nurse, the educator, the nutritionist, you have become the counselor and the peacemaker and the social worker and the transportation providers and so much more in our lives. The whole government of life rests on your shoulders. So we want to say thank you. We salute you, woman of strength. We salute you, woman of resilience, woman of power, and most of all, worthiness and of value. Today, I want to lay on your head an invisible or an imaginary crown. And the crown that I'm laying on your head is a crown that comes with love, with honor, with respect for your job, for who you are. And out of all of this that we say today, I take out and I created this thing and said, young mothers, new mothers, it is important to practice responsible love. Love responsibly. Love unconditionally, but love responsibly. You are loved by all of us. Mother's love is unconditional. Mother's love are given and granted by God. I believe when God created mothers, he gave a double portion of his blessing. He gave a double anointing to your hands and your feet. Hands that touches to heal and feet that walks an extra mile. He gave you a double portion of a heart that loves and expands even when we fail and make mistakes. So your love is unconditional. So thank you for being who you are. I am Rev M, and always remember, I love you, and thank you, Lathea and Byron.
Wow,
Awesome.
that hit me responsibly. That hit me, and that needs to be taken away. So, ladies, and I say that with plural, ladies, taking those words, it does mean a lot to me also, and you mean a lot to me,
And to the world.
to the world, yes, and that's what you should remember. Rev,
Mr. Rev M, thank you so much for your time and for being on the show and all the value that you shared here with the viewers. They loved you. We have many comments coming in saying, I agree, Rev M. Thank you, Rev M. You are amazing. So thank you once again. Have a beautiful evening, and we hope to have you soon again in the future on our show.
yes, definitely.
Thank you so much for having me. And on my page as well, we must set up a date that you can share with me as well on my page. So thank you so much. This was an awesome experience, and blessings to all your future endeavors.
Maybe we can just talk plural, generally about relationships.
Oh yes, many relationships. Yes, we can. Have a blessed
See you.
one. Thank you for
Have
having
a
me.
beautiful day going forward, eh? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Excellent. This was an amazing show. I actually just want to go to a last few comments. Jason Meyer says, my mother's love is unconditional for sure. Mothers are the center and of every household. Our queens will never go unnoticed. Thank you. Thank you for all you have paved for us. And then another one where Tanya says, we are the gateway for a soul to be born into this realm. So we are powerful, strong, and courageous. Thank you, Biden. You nailed it. Love that comment.
Biden nailed it anyway.
So mothers, you are definitely important to the society, because you're rearing the future generation within society. So you are doing an amazing job, and have a blessed Mother's Day. And Biden, if you'd like to say anything.
Not much. This beautiful lady said enough, and she's a mother to my kids also. For me, with me supporting me now, kids have their own mother, but she stepped into my life and my future wife. And you're all mothers, man. Even when you don't have a child, you play a motherly role to kids that's younger than you out there. So be that mom
and support system.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening.
Love
Good night.
you.